Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me this evening in the locker room. I'm Alan Locher. Daytime legends Bill Hayes and Susan Seaforth Hayes are here tonight to reminisce about their incredible careers working in network television and tell us all about their new website, soapopera-secrets.com. The site includes recent interviews interspersed with scenes from old Days of Our Lives episodes. Each episode covers a secret to their 48 years of a happy, loving marriage. Bill and Susan first kissed on television on July 23rd, 1970. Their first kiss in real life, too. And they were married 4 years later on October 12th, 1974. This real life couple had the pleasure of getting married a second time as Doug and Julie Williams on Days of Our Lives on October 1st, 1976. In 2005, they wrote their memorable memoir, Like Sands Through the Hourglass. According to TV Guide, it is the best book ever written about daytime television. They also penned a historical novel about actors, what else, and are working on a sequel. These two actors are the recipients of a Lifetime Achievement Emmy Award for their over 50 years of work on Days of Our Lives. It is truly my distinct pleasure to welcome them both to the locker room. Please welcome Bill Hayes and Susan Seaforth Hayes.
Yay!
Yay! Standing ovation. Standing ovation.
What a wonderful introduction. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you both for making the time to chat with me. And before we get started, I just wanted to thank Michael Maloney of Soap Hub for suggesting we speak today and for giving me some background on the two of you.
Okay. Thank you, Michael.
So tell me about Soap Opera Secrets. It's such a treat for fans. What prompted you to put this together?
We were prompted by our grandson.
Yes.
David Samuel. He had many years of marriage, and the marriage went away, has 4 children, and he looked around at us and said, Grandpa, you probably know how to make a marriage go well.
You must know something that I don't know, he said.
What are your secrets, he said.
And so we wrote down some secrets.
And he liked them so much, he decided to broadcast them. We were photographed in this very room on these very chairs pointing in a different direction. And we did 20 of them and then hoped that we could intersperse the ideas with some clips from Days of Our Lives, some actual scenes that helped to illustrate the ideas that we had. So we had to go through Sony and Ken Corday and NBC and numerous other people that I'm not even aware of to give them, even though they're old clips, and many of them came into our hands through fans and what we had in the garage. But we had the permission to put it all together. Yep. So they're I think they're kind of entertaining. And I think you don't have to know Days of Our Lives and you don't have to know us. It's just two people talking about how to get along successfully.
Well put.
Well put. And I loved hearing David, in the introduction on the website. I think that's so great. What was it like working with him to put it together?
Surprising. He's an amazing guy. He made his fortune in music, and he made a big fortune, which gives him an opportunity to follow all of his wild ideas.
He has a lot.
And he has a lot of them.
And that's good.
Let's see. He was my host at Burning Man a couple of years ago. At Burning Man, he's
Susan
that kind of.
Actually went to Burning Man.
I actually went to Burning
Man. I
Man.
haven't been to Burning Man.
With my grandson, which changed my life to a certain extent. Anyway,
I don't think I should ask how on this program.
And since then, he has remarried and gave us the honor of having his grandfather actually married.
I pronounced them. I asked them the big questions and pronounced them.
Yes. Yeah, he became
a
reverend in the Church of Universal Happy Life or whatever. So we're just riding along on a sunbeam with him. Yeah.
Absolutely. Bill, that must have been so special.
Oh, it was.
It was magnificent.
Do you, David Samuel, take this woman, Amy Spall, to be your lawfully wedded wife, to love her and cherish her through sickness and in health, so long as you both shall live?
I do.
I do. Then I got to pronounce them. It was wonderful.
Yeah. was a great
I can only imagine, you just said how special it was to you guys. I mean, it must have been so special to him as well to have you marry, to do that.
Yeah.
pretty swell.
Yeah. In Secret Number 2, there's this great clip from 1978 of you guys singing on Days in the Me and My Baby. Tell me about what that was, from Days.
It was on a special, an NBC special.
It was a pre-Rose Parade show
New Year's Day.
On New Year's Day. And we arrived in the open area of the parking lot near the parade at, I think, 5 o'clock in the morning or something like that. And we were
Wow.
up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Okay, go. And and the playback was fine. And this was a scene that we had, this is a number that we had created for our nightclub act when we were touring with our nightclub act. So we knew it pretty well and had a very good time doing it. Yeah. Of course, we used music on Days, and now we can't afford it because the copyright expensive.
Too expensive.
Yeah,
I was so impressed with that, the fact that you had a great song like that, and it was such a great production number.
Oh,
Yes.
Thanks. We were having
It was a ball.
Loved it. Jody just said Susan gets more and more gorgeous each year.
Thank you, Jody.
Thank you, Jody. You're a darling for saying that. All my natural beauty is in a bag in the next room.
I love
Very heavy though. Heavier than a bowling ball. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Do you have a favorite song you sing to each other?
Boom, 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 boom.
Somebody knows just how to tease me, how to please me. Somebody knows just how to woo me, bill and coo me. Somebody's eyes just seem to hypnotize. Such a feeling goes a stealing, sets my heart a reeling. Somebody knows that time soon, dear, wedding June, dear, church bells will sweet. Lee ring in spring, tingling, tingling. Oh, somebody, someone knows it. Somebody, someone shows it. I love somebody, and somebody knows.
Amazing. I didn't expect that. How important, Bill, you grew up singing, but is music just always on in the household?
We love music. Absolutely.
All kinds, yes. Our big expense in the past has always been going to Los Angeles Opera. We've been supporting LA Opera for over 40 years. So, all kinds of music. And Bill has a degree in education, his doctorate in education, your MA in music and choral direction, right?
Right.
And your BA in whatever that is.
Music and English.
Music and English. English, of course.
Yeah, I was very impressed to see that. Erin just said, and we get a concert too. Everybody's clapping along. So thank you for entertaining the audience.
Thank you for asking. That song is 1911.
1911, Harry Von Till.
Wow.
It was a song that Bill's father taught him.
Yep.
And all the family knows that song. So whenever we have a family,
We sing it.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I love that. Tradition, right? Tradition.
Yeah. Tradition.
You two have traveled all over the world. What are some of your favorite cities, and what do you learn from travel?
Well, first, my favorite city, it would be in Italy. We've been to Italy several times and loved it every time.
I think more than 9 times, but more than 9 trips. Probably Venice. If I really knew I was going to die in 24 hours, I'd make every effort to get to Venice and to just sort of glide out in a gondola with Billy. The last time we were in Venice, we were taken there by the same man that produced, by our grandson, that produced Soap Opera Secrets. So we kept telling him, the most romantic place in the world, you've got to go there. As it happened, he wasn't with the lady he married, but they'll go back.
That's right.
I agree. Italy is one of my absolute favorite places.
You can't miss.
There's
any
so
direction.
much. Why?
That's a great way, Susan. Any direction.
In any direction.
Why go to Italy? Yeah, the food is always wonderful.
The art, magnificent.
The art, history, beauty.
And the attitude of the people.
Endless.
the wonderful attitude
Yeah,
of
the
the
people
people.
are nice.
Yeah, you're welcome there. But we have been all over the world. South Africa, Cape Town, Greenland briefly, that was on a cruise. South America,
Been to Australia 3 times.
Australia 3 times, New Zealand on our own, traveling around wonderfully, traveling around without any reservations.
Yep, we love travel.
And one night it got too late, way too late, far, far away from everything, way too late to get a reservation in a room. Drove up to a house that it was a nice house. And I said, my husband doesn't deserve to spend the night in the car. Is there anything you can do for us? They found a neighbor who gave us a room and gave us a breakfast. And as we're leaving, they said, there's something about you looks familiar. I said, yes, we have television in New Zealand. Oh, so that was all a plus. It was all a plus.
Yeah.
Also China.
Wow.
We have a good time together, kiddo.
Yeah. Wherever we are, we're at home because we have each other.
Well, you must, have a good time. All these years, absolutely. That's what makes it work. And from what I can see, laughter.
Oh, plenty.
Yes, lots of laughter. Laughter is good for you.
Yeah.
Well,
smile.
you are certainly, both of you, proof to that one, proof to the laughter. Back in 1974,
Yes.
a daytime soap opera was on the cover of Time magazine,
Right.
Sex and Suffering in the Afternoon.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you remember from that time? And what do you remember about picking that dress out?
Okay. It was a negligee, and I picked it out because of the color. I knew it was the color of Time magazine. That was the dressing room, not the dressing room. That was the ladies' room at Doug's place, which was the nightclub that the character of Doug owned at that time. And it was kind of plush. The magazine was photographing every soap that was on the air. And they were interviewing every hot storyline that was on the air and the producers. And I remember that the writer felt that the producers were not always forthcoming because they feared that the article was going to be kind of a pan of the art form. But we, of course, didn't feel that way. So we were pretty forthcoming. They said, where would you like to be photographed? Well, at home, I guess. How about the bedroom? Okay. I don't know that I'd do that now. I said, okay. So there's a little picture in the story of the two of us sitting up in front of on our brass bed, studying lines, which actually we didn't do very often in bed.
We certainly study lines.
But we still certainly study lines. We've been very fortunate in the last year to have some story too that was very involving for Billy and me. Great storyline. I have to say, in the last couple of years, I've enjoyed having more to do and challenging scenes, good stuff to play. There were years when our characters would come in at Christmas, only Christmas, and would say, I've got the cookies, I'll put them in the kitchen. And that would be kind of the end of your scene, but not recently. It's been a lot of
talk about Ron Carlivati and what he's given you to do in the last couple of years.
Well, he's a wonderful head writer, let me say.
There's always something going on, always surprising.
Our story recently has been so wonderful. Julie's son David has passed away now, but he had married an African-American girl
years ago.
And so suddenly we meet that pair's son, and that's Julie's grandson.
My grandson. But the funny thing about the story is the boy who was playing my son at the time was my height, which is about 5'4" in heels, and blonde and kind of pink-faced and from Texas, and not exactly what you would think of as the father of Lamone, Archie, who came in
plays the character,
a good 6'4", as beautiful as any pharaoh you ever saw, just one of the most beautiful men that ever walked. Yeah. And sweetheart. But when I said, I look at you and you really remind me of my son. Those lines I would have a little difficulty with, because I felt perhaps Ron was having a joke on us. But
that puts us with the
put us with
the black characters on our show,
and getting to work with Jack A has been so much fun,
yes, and Jim Reynolds.
It's opened up the show a lot.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, it's been great.
I love that. Here you are, saying, you used to come in to give coffee, and Ron's writing meaty stuff for you to play.
Right. Yeah. Really meaty stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Good stuff. Yeah. I think everybody in the cast pretty much feels that way. And those that don't aren't here.
For sure.
Good luck.
Now, you can yell at me for asking this question, but you both signed on to play these parts, over 50 years ago. Do you remember, your agent or whatever, what hearing there's this part of Doug on Days of Our Lives, there's this part of Julie, do you remember the audition at all, or what you had to do?
Yes.
Vividly.
I would say rather vividly.
Go ahead with yours.
Susan says rather vividly. Yes, my character was introduced in prison. He'd been a con man and a bad guy. Womanizer, charming, but not a good guy. And I remember doing the scene. They asked me to do, as an audition, a scene that was written just for that moment. And an actress named Regina Gleason and I did a scene. It was very powerful stuff. Very. Did you do that scene on camera? You didn't? No, never did it on camera. And I never had an on-camera audition. I auditioned for the show when the show first started. And they liked me very much. Ken's father liked me. And I had just spent $60 on getting a tape from The Young Marrieds, where I had played a very sophisticated artist's model, fashion model. Though the show had a low budget and we all had to supply our own clothes, which was kind of a drag for me since my life wasn't high fashion. Anyway, I insisted on showing that tape. My agent said, you lost the job because you showed the tape. I said, why is that? He said, your eyelashes were too long. So really? Really? That was the comment. They said, oh yeah, she's far too much to be playing a teenager. Okay, so they fired the first girl. They fired the second girl. They fired the third girl. Years later, I come in and I audition again. This time I don't talk about any tape. I don't talk about my history. I don't talk about anything but the scene. And it was a scene with Denise Alexander, who was playing the most wonderful on the show at that wonderful time. Actress. And in the context of the scene, we are enemies, and I attempt to bring on a heart attack on her character. So it was a big argument. Big argument. Instead of her having a heart attack, I bring on my own labor pains because I am pregnant at the time with the man that we were both in love with, who is now dead anyway. Hell of a scene. I've thrashed around, whatever I did, thrashed around. Years later, I went to Bill Bell, and who was in the room. Bill, why did you cast me? What was it about that audition? You hadn't seen me on camera. What was it about it? He said, you had a lovely smile. Oh, how defeating. Oh, God. I'm never going to ask anybody why they gave me a break again. Oh, dear. So I do remember it, and warmly now. It's a happy memory. And I got to work with Susan. We didn't kill each other on the show, and we're still friends in life. So it was all good.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, Bill, congratulations. You're celebrating 52 years. Susan, you've been playing Julie for 54, the longest running part in daytime. When you said yes to taking these parts, could you ever have imagined you'd still be playing them today?
No.
No. Days of Our Lives has given us, each other. It gave my mother a career. My mother was picked out of the wind to be tutored by Bill Bell in how to be a writer. She became a soap opera writer. She became the head writer of Days of Our Lives for a while. So I have my mother's career. Thank you, Days of Our Lives. I have my marriage. Thank you, Days of Our Lives. And P.S., I'm still doing the show. Thank you, Days of Our Lives.
That's where gratitude comes in.
Yeah, I got the big bonus.
That's where gratitude seriously comes in. Say that again about your mom. She was just picked out randomly?
Well, she's gone now, so it's okay. There was a writer's strike. And our producer at the time said, who do we know that knows the show? Who do we know that knows the show? My mother watches every day. Does she have any? She has written some magazine articles in the 1940s. Okay, and he knew her personally because he was very close to us personally. He stood up with us at our wedding. Wes Kenny said, okay, let's see. And mother came up with some stuff, and she was paid. She was not a member of any union. She was paid in cash in the parking lot of the grocery store, whatever was going on. The strike ended. Bill Bell came back to our producer and said, one of those writers had a real flair, had a real talent. I want you to tell me who it was. All right, it's Susan's mother. Okay. Would she be interested in coming to Chicago, living in an apartment with Sally Sussman and learning how to do this? Yes. Those were definitely the happiest days of my mother's life. She never gave up on loving the Bell family and on being a part of their productions, because she also wrote on Y&R. And when he cast me on Y&R, mother was writing my scenes for the characters. So I guess it was very incestuous. I don't know. It was hard on me. Elizabeth Harrower was her name.
A wonderful last part of her life.
Oh, golly. Yeah, that gave her insurance and a home and just a bounty that she never would have experienced. And then when she stopped writing for the show, she quit. She worked for NBC. She worked for ABC. She worked for NBC, the creation of Generations. And then eventually she got older and she got ill, and very ill. She had cancer. And the ladies from Y&R took her out to lunch, looked at her and said, Elizabeth, there's a part coming up. Let's have Elizabeth do it, because my mother had been an actress. And my mother got to do 14 episodes as an actress on Y&R. So
in the last weeks of her life.
Yeah. So, wow.
That's beautiful.
Yes,
it was pretty wonderful.
I love that. And do you remember meeting each other for the first time in 1970?
Absolutely.
Yes.
In those days,
we rehearsed.
It was a 30-minute show instead of a 60-minute show. And we taped in the morning, and then we would start studying a script by reading it aloud to each other.
You taped a Monday show on Monday, and that ended by 1:00 in the afternoon. 1:00 in the afternoon, you went out to Ben's truck and bought a burrito and ran upstairs to the rehearsal room and did your read through of the next day's script. Then you did your blocking of the next day's script. Then you did your timing of the next day's script. Then you discussed what the scenes were about. I'm not saying that we needed to do it, but it was very helpful.
That was what was done then.
So you came home without last-minute cuts. You had discussed what they expected of you, and you knew what your movements were. Later on, they eliminated that, and when it went to an hour, enlarged. You were working all day long, but they didn't start taping. They still kept rehearsing up until noon, And then you would go to tape around 1, and sometimes taping through until 8, 10 o'clock at night for big shows.
And to answer your question, I knew MacDonald Carey because he had been on your show of shows where I sang.
Mm-hmm.
We met a couple of times doing summer theater. And I can remember to this day, MacDonald Carey saying, "And Bill, this is our Susan Seaforth. And Susan, this is Bill Hayes."
And I tried not to drool because I had seen Billy. I had purchased his recordings. I had seen him on your show of shows. I've been a devoted fan of your show of shows. And I had seen him in the national tour of Bye Bye Birdie. And he was the most gorgeous thing, the sexiest thing. And then he turned out to be so nice. My God. Nicer, brighter, that musician's mind and that performer's zest for life, which, MacDonald Carey aside, wasn't always prominent on the sets of soap operas, where the actors are involved in these emotional scenes, and it's very dark sometimes, and there's a great deal of loss and there's a great deal of love, but there's a great deal of panic because you're in the emergency room all the time. And Billy comes, he's the music man. He really is the music man. So he would come into work twinkling and smiling and singing and just being wonderful, and it lit a fire under the show. I really think his arrival changed the show a lot. For the best.
That's
Yeah.
great.
We had many years of working at my nightclub, Doug's Place. And it was such fun. We had music every day for years.
Yeah. They didn't think they could fill 60 minutes of show
Yeah, in
with just
1975, it went to an hour.
with people talking. So I said, "Oh, we'll add music. We'll put in some music. That'll fill 3 minutes."
What a treat for the fans, though,
Yeah.
to see
Yeah.
the two of you. I mean, like, just a couple minutes ago, you wowed everybody. I'm sure, back then it was something else. A lot of the fans are asking if you can share memories of Frances Reed.
Oh, shoot. Yes. What a wonderful actress in the first place. Wow.
Wonderful actress, loving to the company. When Billy and I were first on the show, it was maybe 12, 14 tops, 20 in the cast. It was a tight little island of people who saw each other every day and worked together every day. And at Christmas time, Frances would have a Christmas party just for us. And I remember one time, Wesley Ure, Frances said, "I'm not going to put up a tree." And Wesley Ure, who played Michael Horton at that time, came to the party, and a tumbleweed had collided with his car. And he brought in the tumbleweed, and they decorated it for that.
It was about this big.
That would be the Christmas tree. She was a darling. She was a smoker.
She smoked cigarillos, those little tiny cigars.
Tiny, classy looking ladies kind of smokes. She was sometimes critical. Occasionally, after all the years that she'd been on the show, she could do whatever she wanted to do. Everybody was just happy to see her. Occasionally, she would come in and say, "You're not going to read the line that way, are you?"
Oh,
I guess not.
And for years, the writers gave her lines with everybody's name in it.
She was always accounting for all the actors that weren't on the show that day because of budget constraints, and say, "Oh, well, Mickey is parking the car outside in the driveway, but meanwhile, Maggie is putting me in the kitchen." And now we're the people that have those lines of, "Oh, Lonnie and Eli are so other than," and then the twins, Carver and Jules are then, and then Abigail is in the bathroom, and so forth and so on, and so on and so on and so on. You say, "Oh my God, I've got the Frances speech today."
It's known as the Frances speech. I love that.
Yeah.
Back in 2003 and 2005, the Salem serial killer storyline was so powerful. Is it true that the actors didn't know they'd be returning to the show after being killed off?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, that was scary.
My character, Doug, was killed off by the slasher. And they gave me a cake.
A cake.
And I had a goodbye speech.
Wow.
A goodbye. Here's your hourglass. It's over for you.
Yeah. Yes, we did not know.
Nobody knew. And the fortunate thing is that nobody sold their house in Los Angeles, because the storyline went on for such a long time. It was entirely possible people would say, okay, that's it. I don't
Right.
have,
I'm packing it in.
I'm leaving.
Right.
And nobody did. And then the day, this wonderful day, Ken Corday called all the people that had been off the show and said, I want you to come to the office, right? I want you to come into
Yes.
my office. And there was a break in our shooting. I was working that day. And he came onto the set and lit a candle. And he said, this candle came from Bethlehem. Teo Penglis gave me this candle, and I just think it's appropriate. And I would like to introduce the new cast of Days of Our Lives. And everybody started coming through the door. And
All 10 of us.
All 10 of them. And that was Frances and Billy and Suzanne Rogers and Peggy McKay, and on and on and on. And I can remember the crew bursting into tears. I can remember the prop man saying, isn't this the most wonderful thing? So imagine how emotional it was for the audience. Of course, the payoff of being on a desert island, I never quite understood.
We never understood that.
And didn't care. Just dismiss that. I guess we're living in a fantasy, but sometimes you don't think you're living in a fantasy.
Right. But everyone returned. I mean, and you had, how long were you in the dark, Bill, for not knowing?
Oh, well, from the time that Doug was killed, I would say 4 or 5 months.
4 or 5 months.
Wow.
And I had a wardrobe, the most wonderful wardrobe of black clothes, because I was mourning everybody. I was the chief mourner all the time. And one scene we had, they had Doug laid out in a coffin in the Horton living room, no lid. And somehow the prop man that was so emotional, perhaps he failed that day, it was a child-sized coffin. Very short.
I was a little cramped.
And Bill was not only not allowed to breathe, wasn't allowed to frisk around in any way.
But during that time, Susan and I had a most wonderful scene to play. You know, you always want to, when someone passes that was really close to you, you would say, I wish I had said this. Mm-hmm. We had just between Doug and Julie, where we got to say those things. The tunnel of light. It was so wonderful.
It killed us. Yeah.
That
was the hardest day. That was the hardest day ever. Because I thought, this is it. This is it. Oh God. Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough.
It was.
It was tough, but it was lovely.
It's actually in Soap Opera Secrets. That scene turns up in Soap Opera Secrets.
It will turn up one time.
And our advice is, don't hold back from telling the person that you love them.
Say it now.
Say it now. You never know. You never know.
100%. Nancy says, thank you for sharing your lives with us. Diane says, watching over 50 years, still love Days of Our Lives and the two of you. I look forward to watching your scenes and want to wish you the best. So much love coming your way. You guys returned to Days in 1999 after a period of being off, and got to work with Christian and Peter, who I believe you didn't work with for 15 years. What was it like to come back to work with them again? And
so sweet.
Oh, it was wonderful. We had one day that, because of scheduling, it was only scenes of Doug and Julie, Christian and Peter.
Yeah.
All day long. That was one of the most fun days we ever had.
Yeah. That's Hope and Bo.
Yeah, Hope and Bo. And
Hope and Bo. Yeah. Was it different after 15 years? Like, was there anything different about them, or?
Well, they were just better actors
just
by
better.
then. They were at the top of their form. They were just wonderful.
Yeah.
Christian was practically a little girl when she started.
She was 18 on her first day.
Gorgeous, but not an experienced actress. She had all this potential. And Peter also, I mean, from time to time, Peter had been a carpenter and a singing waiter, and an actor, but he had grown. You wanted to be in scenes with him. You wanted to be in scenes with him.
Yeah.
And I can remember his last day, or not, maybe the last day that we worked together. We're sitting in the Brady pub, and it's the three of us at the table. And I said, "My God, Peter, I'm never going to have a scene with you again." And he started to cry, and I started to cry, and he left the table. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm losing a big part of my life. That's how it is when there's a turnover like
Yeah.
that. You say, "Oh, I'll never have a partner that's going to be so perfect for me." But I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get to go to work with him and come home with him.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's truly the best of both worlds.
Best of both. And he'll have an iced mocha on the way home. That's our reward.
A what?
A coffee bean and tea leaf. We'll have an iced mocha.
Oh, iced mocha. Okay. I thought you said smoke, and I was like, no smoking.
No, we don't.
No smoking.
No.
I smoke blended.
Gotcha. In 2005, you wrote your memoir, Like Sands Through the Hourglass, and published a novel, Trumpet, in 2012.
Right.
Are you working on a follow-up?
Yes,
Yes.
we are. Every
Yes.
day.
Yeah, Billy works on it every day. I work on it when I can. We have, because of the Olympics, we have 3 weeks off. We have 3 dark weeks, and I'm planning on really plunging into it again, because we have it's hard to learn lines, do the show, have our marriage, and have a long series of uninterrupted hours to write. You really have to be in it, for me anyway.
Do you have a rhythm of who does what?
We both do all of it.
Both do all of it, but I would say most frequently I write a scene and Susan edits it.
Edits and rewrites it.
Yeah.
But
improves it.
Well, the basic plot comes out of it's based on a historical incident from 1820, 1822. And the wonderful thing is researching all over the world to find background for this particular moment, this particular historical moment in time. It takes place in the South in the time of slavery.
Takes place in Charleston, South Carolina.
Charleston, South Carolina.
1821, 1822.
And we're carrying through our main characters from Trumpet. It's a continuation of the actress's life,
but much more serious.
But it's the theme is a little bit different, quite a bit different. So
it's about slavery.
It's about slavery and performing, and
interesting.
Yeah, hopefully.
Interesting. One of our fans, Maybeth, asked, "Do you have an hourglass in your home?"
We have these two.
We have them.
I have a small one.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Perfect. I didn't even know they were there. That's fantastic.
They are. They don't out all the time.
Well, you put them out for me?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. In 2008, you received your well-deserved Lifetime Achievement Awards. What was it like to receive it from Deirdre, and what stands out in both of your minds from that evening?
Well, it was wonderful to receive it from Deirdre. It was wonderful to receive it at all. Again, our grandson, David Samuel, put together a whole weekend for us. He brought in every family member. He said, "We're going to take you to dinner tonight, Friday night." Okay, Friday night. We're going over to Universal Studios, to the Universal City Walk. There may be some people at the dinner. Oh, your children? Oh, yes. Okay.
So we expected maybe 6 people.
So we expected party of 6. Open the door. And these are the days of our lives, comes this voice. The room had 65 people in it, every member of our family.
Oh, it was wonderful.
He had brought them all to Los Angeles to participate. He'd gotten tickets for them to be there. And when we were on and the next day,
you're going to make me cry.
We did a lunch, and he had gotten a ballroom, and had it done up like Doug's place.
Oh my God.
The same furniture, the same colors,
Same chairs.
the same chairs, the bar, the pianist in the corner, and everybody in the family that performed. So that was wonderful.
Yep.
And there were these big blow up pictures of us that he'd gotten from NBC that were like this when we had seen them last, but he had them like 5 by 3 by 5. We get on the red carpet, we look out, and there's the family with the pictures from the lunch. Hey, Billy, yay! And all the photographers are saying, "Boy, you've got some devoted fans there, don't you?" Oh yeah, yes, we have many fans. Many fans. And we were told that we had as much time as we wanted, but it was recommended 4 minutes for our speech. And Billy said, "This is daytime. Let's tell them all of our daytime credits." And Bill's daytime credits are enormous. So we rattled off all the things that we had done in addition to soap opera, which was fun.
Right. Well, I went back to Dave Garroway and
Merv Griffin and
Ernie Kovacs.
Ernie Kovacs, and When the Fat Lady Sings.
Yes.
Fat Lady Sings.
Yes.
Her name was God Bless America.
Who is it?
Who is it? You're an expert. No, you're the expert. We'll think of it the minute we move on to another.
Wait, somebody else will tell us.
Kate Smith.
Kate Smith.
Kate
Kate
Smith.
Smith.
So
She had an afternoon show from 2 to 3 every afternoon, 5 days a week. Wow.
singing.
She sang 6 songs a show.
Sherry Lewis, another,
Yes, Sherry Lewis.
of course.
Yep. The fans started answering Kate Smith, Kate Smith, Kate Smith.
Kate Smith, yeah. And
Yeah.
at the end, we got to talk about how whatever went wrong in the world, the future could be corrected by your grandchildren. And it just happened that we had all of these grandchildren in the audience.
Yeah,
So
they were right there.
let's leap into the future. So it was
mean,
exciting to do it. We did it without a teleprompter too. We had rehearsed it.
oh my God, that's incredible because I watched it. First of all, David, I mean, what he did for that weekend.
What he did
was
for that
wonderful.
weekend. Yeah.
He's a terrific guy.
He loved it.
Wow.
Yeah.
You yes.
I
There is no doubt there.
No doubt.
No doubt. You know, Bill, watching the Lifetime Achievement and seeing Bryan Cranston pop up with that message because he wanted to, and the fact that you two had not really kept in touch since his small role in 1980. What did you think when you heard his?
I remembered the moment, but I didn't know it was Bryan Cranston. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was shattering. That was a genuine surprise.
a genuine surprise, and it was very moving to me
Yeah,
to have him announce that.
that he loved what you did for him.
Yep.
That you.
But isn't it amazing to know just a small thing you did, the impact? Because
Well,
he's carried it onward as
Yes.
well. You continue to do that, but
Well,
he's now.
I've learned since then that the small things that you do are not small, particularly if you're a person with agency or you have some history with a show. It is important. It's essential for the working atmosphere to be open and helpful, please, to the newcomers or someone that you're working with, and even someone that you're not working with, just to make that atmosphere better. And of course, that works for everything in life. I had a dear friend who taught me the first thing you should think about is, as you reach any age, is kindness. Be kind. Be kind to the person that you don't know. Don't expect the worst. Set the tone yourself.
Yep.
And one of our cast members is moving on to another show where he will be one of the older persons on the show. And I said to him at our goodbyes, the kids are going to follow, their attitude is going to be fixed by how you behave. You're the senior here. He's not senior at all, but compared to me, but you will be the senior in this situation. Remember, you're setting the tone for how they work. So that's been lovely for us. I think.
Yeah, I just thought, I mean, it was really moving. That whole Lifetime Achievement. Bill, I wanted to say personally, thank you for your service to our country. You served in the Navy and Marine Corps. What stands out from that experience for you?
Oh, golly. Well, it was a lot of 2.5 years of my life. And every day was a standout day. I was in the Navy Air Corps. When I enlisted in the Navy Air Corps, they said it'll be 9 months till you get your wings and your commission. It turned out to be much more than that. That they sent me back to college for a year first, for 2 semesters, and then the war, some people may remember, got a little better after the Battle of Midway, and they needed fewer pilots. So I was trained to be a fighter pilot, but they just kept adding on time to my 9 months. 9 months turned into 2.5 years, and I was still when the war was over, I was still 2 weeks away from getting my wings and commission, but I was going to be a fighter pilot.
Fortunately for me, they gave him the option to get out of the Navy today or sign up for another 22 years.
Yep.
So he got out of the
22?
Yeah.
Yes, it was 2 years active duty and 20 years inactive duty to follow.
Which would have, so he would have been in Korea, he would have been in Vietnam or not. And by then he knew that he loved flying, but the Navy was not the life he wanted.
That's it.
So, but he had friends in the Navy that have stayed friends all through their lives.
Yep.
And close and supportive and all singing together. So
Yes.
Always singing.
Always singing. Always singing.
Singing is a good thing to do.
I wish I had your talent. I do not.
All you need is chutzpah.
Oh yeah, I've got that. I could do it. I'll do it in my. I got that. I can. I'll pretend I could do it. I can't do it at all. I would not join in with you here. That much I do not have. You both have appeared on Broadway and stages all over the country. Yes. What are some of your favorite stage roles that you've done?
Well, I once played Charlie in Where's Charlie? Once in Love with Amy, that Charlie. I loved it. It was well written and it was funny from top to bottom. And it's wonderful to get laughs. That's one I would pick. My first job in show business was in the singing chorus of Carousel as it went
national tour.
It started in Chicago, and that is a beautifully written show. That means so much to me.
And you played Billy Bigelow.
Yes, I got to play Billy Bigelow a few times.
And Harold Hill.
Yes, and Harold Hill. Harold Hill is just only the most wonderful time. It's a great show with a great score. I love doing that. And
you also did a Follies, in which you got to do Buddy.
Oh yes,
Buddy's Blues, which was fantastic.
Right. That is, yes.
Yes. Well, you are.
I have many.
He is. And what are some of your favorites, Susan?
Oh, beginning and ending, Mama Rose. I got to do Mama Rose once, and I was doing it away from Bill. Bill was working somewhere else, and I was on my own for 3 weeks of rehearsal. And I had never done that big a role. It's rather
it's a demanding,
role, and I had a great gypsy. The girl playing gypsy was terrific. So, and it was a lovely production. Everything was beautiful, but the best thing of all was when Billy came back after opening night and gave me a big kiss and knelt at my feet and said I'd done a good job. That meant a lot.
was wonderful.
Everything.
And I got to do a year's tour of the country in Bye Bye Birdie, and that's a terrifically written show. Lots of good songs, lots of laughs.
Yeah, we like to have things with
Yeah.
laughs. We like laughs.
Laughs are good.
The best medicine.
Yes,
Best
it is.
medicine. Susan, James Riley didn't write for you during his first go around, but during the second, he set up that wonderful Bonnie Julie dynamic.
Oh, yeah.
Can you talk about that and working opposite Judy Evans?
Working opposite Judy. Nothing against all the other actresses I've worked with on the show I love. But I do think Judy is one of the best actresses I have ever watched, both as a performer working with her and just watching what she can deliver. She's an Emmy winner. She deserves to be. Judy has an enormous heart and doesn't have a big background in studying acting.
She's a good actress.
There's a natural force in that woman that has nothing but reality. She brings nothing but reality to the scenes that she does.
Yeah.
And her comic timing is fantastic. She's just over the moon. I would love to see her win another Emmy. I would love to see her have a big storyline that would show the world again all the things that she can do. When she was playing two characters on the show, that was interesting. That was fun. That was challenging. I think the character of Bonnie that's on the show now has the potential to do anything wonderful. And with Ron writing it, of course, anything can happen. I would love to see more of her all the time. And I would love to work with her again as Julie and Bonnie at each other's throats. It's more fun being at her throat than with some of the other characters that Julie has had.
Well, I completely agree with you on Judy's talent. I grew up watching her on Guiding Light, and she tore my heart out when she played that character.
What did she play on?
She played a character of Beth Raines. It was like a high school 20-year-old, part of what was called the Four Musketeers on Guiding Light. She actually was a victim of abuse from her stepfather. Oh. It was powerful stuff.
Yeah, heavy, typical opera heavy duty storyline.
Exactly.
We were talking about all that stuff long before anybody else was.
Yeah, seriously.
Trying to solve problems and help people.
Bill, now I know you studied music, but where did your love and both of your love of music begin?
Mine, I started to love music right when I was about 1.5 feet tall. I grew up in a family that did a lot of singing. I had two brothers, both gone now, but my dad and my two brothers and I sang as a quartet for several years. I loved that. I loved to sing in the school choirs and choruses, glee clubs.
How many years have you sung in the church choir? A church choir somewhere?
80 some years.
Wow.
Right.
I just enjoy singing.
And when he came on Days of Our Lives, what they didn't realize is he could write his own arrangements, and he didn't falter. Some other actors who said they could sing were put on in other shows with the guitar, and not too strong a performance of the Battle Hymn of the Republic. But I do vaguely remember that on Y&R saying they're trying, they're not quite getting it yet. Bill was just a triple threat for everybody.
Well, we had so many wonderful years to sing on the show too. That was a great time. Maybe 1974 to 84, along in there. That was just so wonderful.
Is there a performance that sticks out in your mind from Days musically for you too?
We had the most wonderful song that was the song for Doug and Julie, Falling in Love. That was The Look of Love.
That was one that was when Columbia Pictures owned the show, they owned the song. So they would always go back to the Columbia Pictures catalog to see what they could use.
And they only had to pay
And they only
$1
had to pay $1.
performance.
So he performed it a lot. Part of the other things in the catalog was The Last Train to Clarksville, which doesn't really fit into any situation. But The Look of Love fitted in very well. So we really lucked out there. And my first performance on stage was with the New York Metropolitan Opera with Madame Butterfly, a silent role, but it made a big impression on me. That the big orchestra and the big sound was something that was accessible. And I listened to opera recordings all through my childhood. And my idea of a good singer was Ima Sumac. And luckily, somewhere along the way, God gave me a singing teacher who said, now, I want you to think about this. He had no idea what I was talking about, my history. I want you to think that you can achieve a 5-octave range, just like Ima Sumac, my hero. So, wow, yeah, let's all go for that. So music, more listening than performing, but
yeah. My dad sang every day of his life. He sang us boys to sleep when we were babies. He sang, "Oh, how I hate to get up in the morning," when he was waking us up in the mornings. He sang every day. He had a beautiful baritone voice, and
several musicians in the family.
Yes.
Several of his grandchildren became professional musicians.
That's right.
It's just part of the Hayes.
Just part of our family.
Part of the Hayes.
It sounds like it. Sounds like it is. You have 5 children, is that right?
Yes.
And
yes.
How many grandchildren?
12. And how many great grandchildren? 27.
27.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's.
Oh my God is right.
We got a good size.
Wow.
Yeah, and then our short blonde people. I mean, under 10. There's quite a collection of very short blondes in the family at the moment.
But
that is amazing. Has anybody, or do you see anybody following in your footsteps?
Well, none of my children wanted to. They all said, "Oh, Dad works too hard. We don't want to go into
Dad works too hard.
acting and singing."
We have a daughter who has, however, became a hairdresser in the studios after high school and is retiring today. Today is her last job.
That's right.
So she's now 65. So right. Yes, and I've often thought that Margaret had the more interesting job because she got to work on so many sets. She's been on big movies, small movies, television, never been out of work, and always full of the gossip, fun things.
I was just going to say, as you know, she's in the know. She knows everything.
Knows a lot.
Right.
She knows a lot, and she's funnier than we are. She has a tremendous sense of humor. So everybody wants her. Yep. Everybody wants her on their show.
Yeah, my children have been treasures to me.
It sounds it. And your grandchildren. What are the holidays like at your house? Music?
Well, they've been frantic from time to time. Yeah, from time to time they've been pretty frantic.
We've had many of them with a lot of family, and yet Susan and I, on our last anniversary, decided that we were going to go, just the two of us, out to dinner at the Burger Lounge.
Yeah.
The Burger Lounge. That we had a burger and a chocolate.
Yeah, and that was a holiday. That was enough of a holiday for us. Yeah.
Just the two of us. We loved it.
Well, you two are truly an inspiration to me and your fans around the, United States, and I'm sure around the world, because Days is seen. I can't thank you enough for spending this hour with me and sharing your story with everybody. And I hope everyone goes to soapopera-secrets.com to see why it's hard to not see it here in this interview, what makes this work, but I'm sure there's a lot of fun secrets on there.
Oh, thank
Thank
you,
you so
Alan.
much, Alan.
Thank you for the opportunity to spend time with you and to
It
listen
was
to
such a
comments.
pleasure. Keep laughing and please keep singing.
Hope
All right.
so. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you so much for watching tonight and for checking out soapoperasecrets.com. Check out Bill and Susan Hayes's website today. I will see you all next Thursday when Kathleen Noon joins me live right here. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, turn on the notifications down below so you're reminded of all upcoming shows. I hope you all have a great weekend, and I hope you all stay safe. Bye, everybody.